Welcome to Pennsylvania Newsmakers, and as always, thanks for watching. Well, medical marijuana, waste and fraud in state government, and what would a news program be in Pennsylvania without the continuing saga of Kathleen Kane? Plus, our popular financial literacy update. All of that follows these words.
This is Pennsylvania Newsmakers, a fast-paced, unrehearsed weekly discussion with and about the leaders who shape your world. And now, here's your host, Terry Madonna.
Well, we have an action-packed show. Brad Bumsted, Pittsburgh Tribune-Review. I got that out. And Pete Muntean, Capitol reporter for WGAL. All right, Pete, you did an update on medical marijuana. It's passed the Senate twice in 2 consecutive sessions. Is it going anywhere in the House? What's the report?
At last check, no. The rhetoric is really ratcheted up from these moms of kids with epilepsy who really just want this to pass. You talked about it passing the Senate once before. Right. It's been bogged down in these House committees under this sort of nitpicking review, to borrow the words of the sponsor, Senator Mike Fulmer of Lebanon County. He really wants this and says that the House is really bogged down in how this marijuana-derived oil, what these families call a miracle drug, would be dispensed and sold. So now we're sort of getting into the minutia, and they just want it to move. It's been nearly 140 days since it passed out of the Senate.
And there's still some concern in the medical community from the Pennsylvania Medical Society and others about the long-term use of it. But your prognosis here, I'll use the word prognosis, is not very good for a while, right? Not likely.
You know, what's so interesting is that at this last rally that we saw on Tuesday, Secretary John Hanger from the Wolf administration was out there saying, pass this bill, the governor will sign it.
Oh, yeah.
And so the rhetoric from the administration has changed from the last one, hoping that would maybe help out these families in finally getting what they need. The governor says if any version of this bill lands on his desk, so long as it comes from the senators who sponsor it, Dalen Leach and Mike Fulmer, he says he will sign it.
He will sign it. All right, turning to you. Waste and fraud in Pennsylvania. You wrote a interesting story about the Inspector General is going to produce summaries of what? His investigation?
Well, the Inspector General's office is under the governor. They're charged with finding waste, fraud, and abuse in state government. Most of what they do is welfare fraud, but they have special investigation units to do some interesting things. 2 lawmakers want to move it outside of the governor's office into an independent agency, so it's not under the control of the governor. But what happened is Governor Tom Wolf, to his credit, he has tried to be really transparent, I think, and he has started putting out summaries of these reports. Right. They said it was the first time it'll be on the internet. Well, I'll tell you what it is. It's the first time literally on the internet, but it's not the first time they've been released. Former Governor Casey used to put out summaries.
Why does that not shock anyone, given his background as Auditor General?
And magically, they stopped after that. And it's been very frustrating because I think they do some good work over there. It must be frustrating.
But nobody gets to read it. Is that your point?
It is. I mean, you get to read if somebody's charged with a crime for welfare fraud. That's about it.
All right. Now let's turn to Kathleen Kane. All right. Pete, here's the issue. I heard this for the last week or so. Oh, she can't serve as Attorney General because her law license was temporarily suspended. Clarify that. The answer is clearly she can stay. Go ahead.
Well, it was so interesting.
Finish all my thoughts.
It was so interesting that on I guess it was Monday or Tuesday of this week, this order came out from the state Supreme Court unanimously saying we're going to yank the Attorney General's legal license, but it's spelled out very clearly she can stay in office. Many of her opponents said that she would not be allowed to serve as Attorney General under the state constitution if she was not an attorney.
Right.
So
she's still an attorney because she's a member of the bar of the Supreme Court, and that's the legal requirement.
That's why they call it disbarment. You have to be disbarred.
Yeah.
Right, so she still is effectively an attorney. But the real shocker came down the next morning that we didn't know, that she retains her law license for 30 days.
Yeah.
So she is still allowed to practice law for 30 days, and everybody's like, well,
could that be just because she wants to give her time to clean up?
Oh, yeah. Well, as an attorney,
you're a little skeptical of that.
As an attorney, linked to her office, told me, he said, what other profession than lawyers would effectively take someone's license away and give them 30 days to remain. Can you imagine a heart surgeon who did misconduct? You're going to give him 30 more days to operate? So
did you want to? Did you?
Well, just now the real question is, what is she going to do without a legal license? I mean, she's the Attorney General. Do you need to be an attorney? And her office says, well, she can still function as the Attorney General. She can still do administrative functions. She can
hire
still
and fire people, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So is that enough to be the Attorney General? Is she just a figurehead at this point?
Well, she can also tell someone else, sign this paper. But then there becomes a question, are those people going to do that? I've had numerous people in the office tell me, lawyers, they face an ethical quandary taking orders from an accused felon who doesn't have a law license in 30 days.
Can you just see appeals?
Oh, my gosh, yes.
Appeals that are going to come from defense lawyers?
Yes.
What do you think about that?
Well, it's so interesting that the narrative in all of this is that her office says that she will be able to still do her job and that they're hanging their hat on all of these other things that she's done before. Like
all right, we're going to run to a break. When we come back, I'll start with Brad. 6,000, and Brad will correct me, supposed emails that are in the possession of the Attorney General's office, some of which the word pornography comes to mind, and career-wrecking moment for a lot of people. Brad Bumsted and Pete Muntean will weigh in on that after the break.
This broadcast of Pennsylvania Newsmakers is presented by the Pennsylvania Chamber of Business and Industry, the statewide voice of business. This broadcast of Pennsylvania Newsmakers is brought to you by the Pennsylvania Highway Information Association, the go-to source to learn about transportation projects and issues. Please visit pahighwayinfo.org. And by the Pennsylvania Manufacturers Association. Business in Pennsylvania is our business.
Well, Brad Bumsted and Pete Muntean, Capitol reporters, among other things in their careers, and then we're going to have our popular financial literacy update following that. All right, Brad, I mean, most of us knew that there were many emails that, I'll use the word, allegedly have pornography in them, some of them that the Attorney General's had in her office. She did not release them, and now we learn, am I right, 6,000 of these emails? Now, we're not saying they're all...
No, up to 6,000. But just to give your viewers a little background, pornography has been an undercurrent of Kane's tenure over the past year because, you know, first of all, she wouldn't release them, and then she changed her mind quickly in the fall of 2014 and released them selectively on 8 Republicans who had worked for Tom Corbett. So we've already seen some of this. Right. And then she put filings with the Supreme Court and said she needed these for a criminal defense, and the Supreme Court said, okay, you can have them. And she wouldn't do anything for a week, so they put them out. They put them out, and those were released. Now she's saying there are thousands more, and she's going to release them. But the oddity of that is there was a Commonwealth Court right-to-know law case last week, or the week before last for your viewers, at which she argued these were not public records and you can't release them. But now she's saying she's going to release them.
I don't get the inconsistency in this. Look, these pornographic emails have ruined just more than a few careers. I'm not getting into whether they should or they shouldn't. The potential here, Pete, once people, I mean, if they're in fact, she alleges there's a misogynist culture. She alleges it's the old boys network. She alleges that these emails are going to shed light on prosecutors. Her words.
Well, in the last dump of these, it was really the first time we saw the name Frank Fina, who is largely recognized as her arch rival in state government.
That may be an understatement.
It's interesting that after her legal license was revoked earlier this week, she put out another statement saying, I'm going to release some more emails. And so now we're getting into a back and forth. This seems to be her only weapon.
But here's the problem with it. There are thousands of more emails. And if these show that there were a whole bunch of other people sending these emails besides Fina and Mark Costanza, who were in the last release from the Supreme Court, that will undermine her criminal case because she's saying, well, these people were after me and concocted this conspiracy against me to take me out of office. But wait, there's a whole bunch of other people who are doing this. So how does that stack up?
I get your point. If there's all sorts of other people who, but the other thing,
if there are, we don't know what it is.
Yeah, we don't know. But remember, this up to this point has cost a Supreme Court justice his job. It's cost a cabinet secretary in the Corbett administration his job. It cost a member of the Pardons Board his job.
And several other people in the private sector who had gone on.
That's exactly right.
Yes.
That's exactly right. So the potential here, and she made the comment, Pete, I'm not going down alone, or words to that effect. Am I right? Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, she says that, if she's going down, she's taking people with her.
It's in the grand jury report where she says, if they take me out of here in handcuffs, what do you think my last act is going to be?
Oh.
Meaning fire people and do whatever,
Fire people.
Burn bridges.
And maybe release pornographic email.
Maybe.
All right. I want to conclude with you guys. As we tape this show, it looks like the State House is going to pass a stopgap measure. And what do we know once it passes it on a partisan vote? What's going to happen to it?
Well, it's likely going to pass.
Yeah.
Governor Tom Wolf, I just asked him yesterday, hey, how fast are you going to veto this? And he said, very fast.
Oh, my.
So we'll have to wait and see. Now he's going to be with the papal visit with the Pope in Philadelphia this weekend. So I don't think we'll see that until early next week. It's only funding the state government essentially through the end of October, if I remember correctly. A 4-month stopgap. And we run the risk of getting into a point where we're just doing continuing resolutions and like Congress.
And damage. Lots of folks will feel the damage. All right, you've been through a lot of these. Is this going to be resolved anytime soon? It doesn't look like it, does it?
I don't see it, Terry. I mean, I think there's even the possibility this goes into 2016. Like only one budget I'm aware of under Schaap did.
Yeah.
Because I did a column a couple weeks ago that Governor Wolf, it seems to me, like he doesn't care in the sense that if he's a one-term governor, so be it. Spent $10 million to do this. He's going to do it the way he wants to do it. Going to try to get what he wants. Going to fight for it.
Yeah. And maybe we didn't, Pete. Maybe we didn't believe him when he said, "I'm going to be a different kind of governor." Right?
Yeah.
I think he's sticking to his guns here.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
you're right. The culture of this man is his background is very different. I think he doesn't. He doesn't have an interest in being a career politician. He's 67 years old.
He's enormously wealthy. He doesn't need this job.
Right. It's his dream job, and if he does it for one term, he's cool with that.
All right. I think yep. All right. We'll have you all back, and we'll continue this. All right. It's time for our popular financial literacy update. Stay with us. Good stuff coming up.
This broadcast of Pennsylvania Newsmakers is brought to you by Pennsylvania Credit Union Association. Pennsylvania Credit Unions, where people are worth more than money. To find a credit union that is right for you, check out ibelong.org. And by the Energy Association of Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania's energy information source. This broadcast of Pennsylvania Newsmakers is presented by the Hospital and Health System Association of Pennsylvania, working towards a healthy Pennsylvania, and by the Pennsylvania Coal Alliance, representing companies involved in America's most affordable, reliable energy source. To learn more, visit pacoalalliance.com.
Well, welcome back to the program. There are lots of internship programs and training programs. They're all designed to improve the capabilities, to improve the skills of folks. Well, the folks from the Credit Union Association have one. Joining me, as often is the case, is Patrick Conway. He's the president and CEO of the Pennsylvania Credit Union Association. And Sara Newell, she's, long title, the 2015 Pennsylvania Credit Union Youth Ambassador, right? That's a long one.
Yes,
and then
that's me.
She also is up at the Erie Community Credit Union where she's a marketing assistant. But Pat, I was making this point. I mean, we have them in college. We encourage students to get involved, to do a lot of extracurricular activities and training and internships. These are really valuable programs generically, I mean, we're going to talk about what you do at the credit union with yours. Am I right or wrong about that?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. You know, a lot of trade groups really want to encourage young professionals to develop themselves in their careers, and the Credit Union Association does this statewide competition, the Youth Ambassador Contest. Sara is our 2015 winner and is doing a great job representing the industry around the Commonwealth. So it's a great thing. It's really exciting.
Now, I have to ask you the tough question.
Yes.
What did you do to win? You were honest, I'm sure. You answered, you did all this stuff right. So what was the contest like?
So far it's been a great opportunity, but first there's a chapter level contest, and we took a test, were interviewed by a panel of judges, and then gave a speech on anything credit union related, and my speech specifically focused on engaging young adults in the credit union movement and how credit unions can reach out to millennials and really relate to them and understand them to secure their place in the credit union movement. And so after I won at the Erie chapter level, then I got to take part in the state competition that happens at the annual convention last year it was in Hershey. And so then I competed against all of the other chapter level winners there. So a little bit nerve-wracking.
So you had to do a speech. Did you have to write something? Was there a written test? Was there...
Yes, we did take a 70-question written test on credit union history and philosophy and politics and everything like that. So that was a little bit scary, but it turned out well. And then we had interviews with 5 different judges, and then we gave our speaches in front of the entire
And you're a
conference.
Penn State grad, right?
Yes, I sure am.
Did you go to all those football games?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, you could not be a Penn State.
How can you go to Penn State without having season tickets?
You couldn't go to Penn State, right? And not. All right. So, how many? You do one youth ambassador a year? Is that the story?
We do. And as Sara said, we had 11 chapter winners this year. And she competed against...
And then they go and do the...
They all come to our statewide convention, and they compete there. And it's a chance to demonstrate their knowledge of the credit union movement, and talk about the industry and the impact that they make in their credit unions. And it's really it's a great program.
Right.
Lots of excitement. Our chapters really get excited about it. The credit unions...
and 40 years, almost 40 years you've been doing
this,
right?
39 years.
39 years.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Now, you have a program, I'm looking here, that you called the M3 Money Club. Which one of you, do you know about that?
Yes,
Is
is what we do for financial education in the Erie market at my credit union specifically. To teach children financial literacy, we have some special youth accounts that teach them about saving money, but in an age-appropriate manner. So
what age
the M3 Money Club is up. It's anywhere from kids up through age 12, and it's all based around superheroes.
Up to age 12.
Yes. So it's all based around superheroes, and it teaches them about saving money through games and interactive cartoons and stuff like that.
I tell you, we're going to run to a break.
The kids get really excited about it.
My 3-year-old grandson, I don't know, maybe I'm going to start him on this. I mean, that kid can call me on the phone. He gets an email up and he types gibberish. I mean, the skills. So what age would you, 5, maybe 6?
Yeah,
really?
It's crazy.
And you use all these interactive games. You see a lot of them when I go into stores now, which I didn't do for a long time. You see all the pretty helpful, right?
Yeah, and it just gets the kids exciting about saving money. And
all right, we're going to continue this discussion. Stay with us. We'll be back in a moment.
This broadcast of Pennsylvania Newsmakers is brought to you by the Pennsylvania Medical Society. Inspired physicians committed to the good health of Pennsylvanians and the advancement of the practice of medicine. And by the Pennsylvania Healthcare Association, the future of long-term care. This broadcast of Pennsylvania Newsmakers is brought to you by the Pennsylvania Business Council and by the Pennsylvania Business Council Education Foundation.
All right, financial literacy update time with the folks from the Pennsylvania Credit Union Association. Am I right about that? You're all looking like, I didn't say that wrong, did I?
No, you're right on.
Okay, cool. Sara Newell, she's the current ambassador, youth ambassador, and Pat Conway, who's a regular participant in our updates. He heads the credit union. All right, so let's talk a little bit about, you've got the job, you have to have goals, you have to have objectives.
Yes.
So what are they?
Yes. So as the youth ambassador, it's figuring out how to get younger people involved in the credit union movement. And as we all know, the average age of the credit union member isn't very youthful, so that's where I come in.
I understand.
And just networking and talking with other credit union people and just my peers and figuring out what we can do as an industry to get younger people involved and what we need to offer to grab them as members and keep them as lifetime members.
Do you go out and speak to other groups? I mean, other than credit union, I mean, like service clubs, have you gotten any of those yet? Or
Not
seems
so
like
far.
That's something that would be really ideal.
And definitely
service clubs are always looking for free speakers. But you get the
that's
point.
definitely a great opportunity.
Yeah,
but no, so far it's only been credit union.
Yeah. And so what's the long-term impact of these programs? I mean, I think that's, I mean, obviously individuals, we're trying to build, we do it on our college campuses, a culture.
Right.
Where we want folks to get involved. We want folks to give back. We want folks to learn while they're doing it. Seems to me this is just the kind of program niche that's ideal for that.
Absolutely. You know, it takes young professionals and it gives them an incentive to develop themselves and their careers in the credit union movement. And as Sara said, it really helps us reach out to new members for credit unions. You know, the average age of a credit union member is close to 50. So we really need those millennials to be coming into our financial institutions, and this program is a great way to reach out.
Right. So how long have you been in this job?
Just over a year and a half.
A year.
So.
Do you stay? Is there a term to this?
I've been in my position at my credit union a year and a half, and then I just got this, the title of Youth Ambassador in May, so it runs May to May.
Okay. Now, when you go out, do you expect to learn things from other people as well? I mean, we think of this, you know, as you're helping folks to understand money management and things that Patrick and I and Mike Wishnow, we've talked about this for years now, constantly giving, you know, trying to provide help to people about how to money management, how to deal with credit cards. Do you get insight? I mean, have you gotten any? It seemed to me that would often people would point things out. You know, here's what my experience here. I mean, it's almost a two-way street, isn't it?
Oh, yes, for sure. I'm constantly learning, and I've been to a few conferences now, and just seeing what other people do and what works for them and best and worst practices and stuff like that. So it's a constant learning experience. And it's been great.
And so one a year, is there any, I mean, you're still doing your programs in the schools, right?
That's right. We've got financial literacy efforts in half the school districts around the Commonwealth, over 260 today. And the Youth Ambassador contest in this program really ties in nicely with the efforts of financial literacy. I was going to say, it seems like, finish your thought. I mean, that's just natural, isn't it? Absolutely. You know, I mean, a big part of the credit union focus is trying to teach young people at an early age, you know, how to handle money responsibly. And this fits in very nicely with that financial education piece.
I think all of us, and, you know, colleges and schools, you know, down in the basic education, I mean, it's something we all need to be concerned about. Well, great having you here. Good luck in your job, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Terry.
All right, we'll see you next week for another edition of Pennsylvania Newsmakers, and as always, stay well.